Hi everyone, back for another training game or two. So the first two today went, well, the first one was great. I just won. The second one I could have won out of the opening, but I was too weak, and then I misplayed the late middle game, end game, allowed my opponent to get a winning position and missed an opportunity to draw, allowed him to basically crush me, and he missed his chance, and it was a draw in the end. So I earned 6 points so far today, 58 more to go. We have a game. I'm black against somebody with a provisional rating called Magnus, which is not good. Why did I think I was white? I'm black. Okay, Caro Kann. Let's go. As I said, once again, I'm not going to play my new opening repertoire, which is unfortunate for me. I really want to practice it. Okay, we have the advance variation. Good. Let's see what he goes for. Vanderwiel attack, Shirov, Tal. What does he want to do here? Let's see. Oh, okay. I like this. I like setups where white plays the early f4 because I can then keep my bishop on the h7 square, and I also get the e4 square for my pieces. So bishop e7 would be a normal move, trying to stop knight h4. But then again, if knight h4, I can play bishop e4. h6 is another normal idea. g4 doesn't work here for him. So either knight e7 to meet knight h4, knight takes f5 with knight takes f5, or bishop e7 to meet knight h4 with bishop takes h4, or h6. What do I want to do here? I think I'm just going to play h6 to keep my bishop on the diagonal. I like this plan where he's going to play for f5, but it's going to be hard to achieve with my knight on e7. And h6 also stops any f5, bishop g5 ideas. Okay, I'm happy to see that. I'm playing for the f5 square. So if bishop f5, knight f5, g4, knight h4, I'm happy. And if he doesn't take, I might take and play knight f5, but then I'm developing his queen, so I should wait a minute with that. Castles, okay, normal move, knight d7. Normal development. He cannot play knight d2, which is unfortunate for him. He would like to do that because I'm going to take on d3 and double his pawns. It's not easy to develop his bishop either because I have queen b6. I've played these positions a lot and I feel comfortable in them. c4 is fine. I mean, I don't really mind him playing that move, but now I get a square for my knight and I'm fairly happy to see this. So usually in the Caro Kann you don't take d takes c4, but when the bishop is on d3 that makes perfect sense. So d c4, bishop c4, knight b6, bishop d3, knight d5 makes sense, and then I take and put my other knight on f5. So I'm going to do that. The only thing I have to be concerned about is his knight coming into the d6 square, but that's not going to happen for as long as I have my c6 pawn. So I can get either knight into d5. My d7 knight is definitely worse, so I'm going to bring that knight into d5, and then he's going to play knight c3, take on d5, I'll take with the c pawn, and we will have an equal position with him having a weakness on d4 with my pawn on d5. So yeah, this is basically an improved French for black. And again, I don't want to get low on time. Last game I had 2 minutes versus 14. My opponent was way ahead on the clock, had a much better position, and I just played like a petzer, complete petzer. Another idea here is to just snap off this knight to make sure my knight can stay on d5 forever. And now knight d5, bishop f5, knight f5 is fine. Knight d5. Any other more useful moves? Because I don't have to play knight d5 immediately. I could try bishop g4 and try to win the d4 pawn, but that seems too risky. He can just play bishop e3, but then I can play knight d5. So bishop g4. I kind of like bishop g4 now. That's not usually something you play. You want to keep a blockade on that square, but... And it does allow h3, g4, but I win a pawn with check. So he would probably have to retreat his bishop from d3, and then I didn't achieve anything really. I need to get my bishop out. So knight d5 is normal. Knight d5 is a normal move. If he plays queen b3, I'll just play queen b6. I didn't want to go for that plan of bishop g4. I don't like leaving the f5 square empty. That could become very risky for me. And my knight on d5 is a great piece. No doubt about that. I'm also making it hard for him to develop his c1 bishop now. Bishop e3 obviously loses, bishop d2 obviously loses to bishop takes d3. Equal on time and a familiar position. Knight c3 as expected. He's going to take, and I'm going to take with my queen or with my pawn. I usually take with the pawn, but I don't know what I want to do here. Rook c8 is a normal move. If knight takes d5, c takes d5, bishop b5 check can be met with knight c6. And then if bishop takes, pawn takes. I think I want to play rook c8 to make sure that if knight takes, pawn takes, bishop b5, I have knight c6, and if bishop c6, I can take with the rook. I don't want to put my b pawn on c6. That would be a backwards weak pawn. And rook c8 is also a perfectly normal developing move. At some point, he's either going to take on f5 or I'm going to take on d3. That's the main thing in this position. Okay, takes immediately. g4 he can't play, but I have knight h4. I also have knight e3 now. That's a very dangerous threat. He has to parry immediately. So he should probably take on d5. And what do I want to take with? Now that his light squared bishop is gone, I kind of like taking with the queen. But then if g4, I don't have knight h4 anymore. Still, I think he should take on d5. He's attacking my pawn. But is that really a big deal? Queen b6, and my structure is perfect. I'm playing against his d4 pawn, so queen b6 makes a lot of sense. Queen b6 he has to take. If he takes my knight, I take the queen first, but then I lose my a pawn. Unless I take with the a pawn. This is scarier than I thought. Queen b6, knight takes knight, queen takes queen, a takes queen, pawn takes knight, rook takes a7. I lose a pawn. So queen b6, knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, queen takes queen, a takes b. So do I have to play something like b6? Maybe I do. b6, knight takes knight, queen takes knight, queen takes queen, d takes queen. Maybe just knight b6, threatening to take on d4. What does he do after knight b6? a4, knight d4, rook d1. I can take on f3 with check. Okay, so knight b6 is going to be... and I don't want to play b6. I didn't want to play queen b6. g4 doesn't work. He can play rook d1. That's probably the best move. But then just bishop e7, a4, queen c7, a5, knight d7, or knight d5, and everything is defended. If he ever plays d5, the good thing is that I have bishop c5 check, intermezzo. And thank you for the discussion about the Caro-Kann yesterday. I read your comments that the Caro-Kann is an opening which doesn't give chances to black. I have to disagree. I think the Caro-Kann is a very aggressive opening, and if white chooses to play a passive position, then sure, it's equal. But name an opening in which white cannot choose a passive position, please. The modern, the Pirc, the Alechin, the Sicilian even, white can choose a passive position. And the same goes for the Caro-Kann. If white chooses the exchange variation or plays something passive against the Karpov, like what happened yesterday in my game, then of course it's equal, but most openings are like that. Okay. Rook d1. I was planning to play queen c7. Rook d1, queen c7. Rook d1, queen c7. d5 doesn't work. I can then play knight d5. He could play g4. But then I'm going to reinforce d5, so that doesn't matter. Queen c7, g4, knight e7, f5. Does it work? Maybe it works. Queen c7 is a very passive move. But I'm going to play it. The only concern I have is g4. But I think knight e7 should be fine. f5, pawn takes, knight takes. I don't think he has any tricks here. Because my queen is defending. So basically, his struggle in this game is to play the move d5. If I've stopped d5, then he doesn't have much. Of course, it is hard for black to castle, but give me two more moves, bishop e7 and castles, and I'm more than equal, because he has a weakness on d4. So the Advance Caro-Kann is risky. And if this is a passive position, then I don't know what you think is active. This is a very aggressive position for black, and black is taking a lot of risks playing this, and white has to be careful, because if his attack doesn't work, if black manages to untangle, develop, castle and stuff like that, then white is usually going to be the one with more weaknesses than black. And as you can see here, he still didn't develop his bishop and his a1 rook, so I have weak squares to exploit. He has to lash out very aggressively if he wants to make any action happen. Like g4 is a very thematic move, and he should probably play it. Okay, now he's going for my d6 weakness, which is a good choice, but I'm now going to try to prevent that. So g4 is a threat now. So I should probably stop it with h5, but then I give away the g5 square. g4 is a very serious threat now. And if I play bishop e7, then g4, knight h4, bishop h4, knight d6 check just wins for black. So I really am considering h5, knight g5, bishop e7. Should I give up the g5 square? That seems extremely risky. h5, knight g5, bishop e7. Can he take on e6? No, because it's not check. My bishop is on e7. h5, knight g5, bishop e7, knight e6, f e6, queen e6. My knight is attacked. Where do I put my knight? Knight h6. The other knight comes into g5. Queen d7. Getting his queen out of the position. No, but he has queen f7 mate there because my bishop is on e7. So that's risky. h5, knight g5, bishop e7, knight e6, f e6, queen e6. My knight is hanging. Knight h6, knight g5. His queen is on e6. He's threatening. No, he's not threatening a mate on f7 because my knight is on h6. Okay, so I can play queen d7. So that's fine. I'm going to play h5 even though I give up a very important square because I have to stop g4. And, well, I don't think I'm getting mated or anything because I have time for bishop e7, and if knight e6, queen e6, my bishop is defending. It's not a check, so I have time for knight h6, and if the other knight comes into g5, my knight is defending the f7 mate, and I have time for queen d7. And also, if he doesn't do anything, I'll just snap off that knight from g5 and castle. The other knight will come into g5, but I have knight d5. If he plays h3, I'm going to play h4 to stop g5. Okay, it's happening. Let's see if he dares take on e6. I think I calculated correctly. Sacrifices on e6 are very thematic in the Advance Caro-Kann. I don't know if you've seen my game, which I played in a simul against Adhiban Baskaran, 2700. I resigned on move 17, or I think I even got mated. And it was a position just like this. His knight was on g5 in the Advance Caro-Kann. He also had two bishops. I think one of his bishops was on c4 and the other on h4, and then I got mated. So these sacrifices are very risky for white if they don't work, but if they do work, then it's mate. So let's calculate again. Knight e6, f e6, queen e6, knight h6, knight g5, queen d7. Should be fine. He has a check on g6, but just king f8 should be okay. And I don't think he's breaking through. Also, knight f7 doesn't work. Knight f7, king f7, knight g5 check, I can take with the bishop. So I think I've stopped everything, and if I manage to castle now, then I wouldn't say white has any sort of advantage. I'm going to have a lead in development. He spent a lot of time moving his knights around, which is understandable. He tried to seize the moment with this active play. But for the moment, d4 is already becoming a weakness, a move such as rook d8, and it's not easy to defend the pawn. He has to bring the knight back. He's probably calculating knight e6. Well, I mean, I would be calculating knight e6 if I were him, but I'm almost absolutely sure it doesn't work. Bishop, queen, knight and rook should be enough to defend against queen and knight. He takes. Okay, I'm just going to accept his challenge and see what he calculated there. Knight h6 was my analysis. My next move is queen d7. If he plays knight g5, I'm not going to take it because it's pinned, but queen d7 should be okay for me. I mean, he has 2 pawns. He obviously has compensation for the piece. But if I manage to castle, okay, I mean, that's fine. He can do that. I'm happy to trade pieces off, obviously. And if he takes, I take. I'm sorry. If he plays queen g6, I'm going to play queen g4. He has to trade off queens, and I should be better. He's going to have a rook and a pawn for 2 pieces. No, a rook and 2 pawns for 2 pieces, but I don't think that should be enough. I have beautiful squares for my knights. And these 3 pawns may seem dangerous, but I think my knights and my pieces can stop them. I'm expecting queen g6 and queen g4. The only other move he has is queen b3, but that really shouldn't be scary. So I don't think that he should have gone for this. He may have compensation. He's even material up, but 2 minor pieces in a closed position, especially 2 knights. I mean, look at these 2 knights. Once they come back to f5 and d5, they are much better than the rooks. And I have a lot of experience in these closed Caro-Kann positions where sacrifices happen. So I think that I should be better. Do I take with the knight or with the pawn? That's the question. He can play queen c2, but I don't think he should play queen c2. Maybe I should take with the pawn, but that would ruin my pawn structure. Yeah, his pawns are not going anywhere. If I take with the knight, he can play f5 immediately, but then I just play rook f8, and I don't think he has enough because firstly his bishop is a very bad piece, locked behind these pawns. Secondly, he still has to get his rook into play. Thirdly, my knights have beautiful squares, and I'm going to say that again. Beautiful squares. And I'm 4 minutes ahead on the clock, so... Okay, he defends. Now let's increase the pressure. How do I increase the pressure? He has to develop his bishop. I want to develop my pieces now. Knight f5. If he plays h3... Maybe it's too early for knight f5. Maybe rook f8 is a more sensible move. But then he has queen h7. Let's force a trade of queens. If he accepts, my knight gets to f5. If he doesn't accept, I'm stopping f5 and I'm going to play a rook g8. And probably g5 or rook f8 and just try to put pressure on his position. I want to blockade those pawns. I want to keep this pawn structure here to make sure I'm playing against the bishop, because if the bishop doesn't have any scope, then I'm just a lot of material up. If the bishop activates with d5 or f5, then I'm worse. So I have to be smart against this bishop. Okay, g6 is a move I wanted to play anyway. G6 is a move I wanted to play. I'm playing against his bishop. I want to stop f5. Okay, and my next moves are going to be knight d5 and knight here, or queen f7, knight here. I think g6 is a very useful move for what I'm trying to do. And also now queen g3 has just allowed h4, and the tables are turning. I may start an attack of my own. This doesn't concern me that much. Or does it? Okay, let's just play prophylactically. Knight d5. If he plays a5, I'm going to play a6. If he plays queen b3, I'm going to play queen d7 and get my knight into f5. I need to blockade his pawns. I need to play against his bishop. Now even this knight is playing against the bishop guarding these two squares. So my whole plan is to play against his c1 bishop. Okay. He now has bishop b5 check, which is, I'm not sure if it's a concern for me or not. So queen d3 would lose my queen. Do I want to get my king to the king side? I think I do. I think I want to just get my king here into f7. That seems like a very calm and peaceful square for my king, getting away from all this a5 stuff and all of that. And also defending g6 so that my queen can move. I'm still playing against the bishop. If he plays bishop a5, I don't really mind that. Okay, so king f7, continue with my plan. If he plays a5, I play a6. Queen b3, I play queen d7. Then he can play rook e1, but I then play king e6 probably. I have to stop that. Queen b3, okay. Queen d7 was my plan. Oh, he can play e6 check. Oof, he didn't see it. e6 check was a great move, because that would hang my b pawn. Okay, knight f5 now, e6 check, king e6. Okay, knight f5, stopping his play, e6, king e6. Because the problem is, if e6, and let's say my king is not here, I move my queen, he has queen takes d5. Now I'm threatening to take on d4. And I'm also going to start moving my pawns up the board now. I need to create attacking chances of my own. I cannot just defend passively. Okay, he does that. That makes sense. Threatening e6, winning my queen. But I'm pretty sure I have knight takes d4. Knight takes d4, e6, check, knight takes e6. Knight takes d4, e6 check, knight d6, he has f5, but then I take with the pawn. So I don't see a problem with this. Is there a problem with this? I don't think there is. Queen d3, knight e6, f5, pawn e5, queen e5, queen f5, king e1, queen f7 check. It is scary. Maybe I shouldn't have taken. Queen d3 is a good response here. But maybe I don't have to move my knight from d3, from d4. Maybe I can play... Maybe I can play knight b4 or something. Or bishop... Oh, I'm going to play bishop c5. Well, that's it. Okay. If queen d3, I play bishop c5. Okay. He attacks my knight. Bishop c5 is impossible now. Okay, knight e6, f5, pawn takes f5, rook takes f5 check, king e8. It's not that scary. King e8, rook e to f1, everything is still defended. I don't really want to play c5, which may seem like a good move. Yeah, I have to play knight e6 and allow f5. Should I play bishop c5 check first? No, probably not. I always have bishop c5 in reserve. Okay, challenges my... What? Doesn't that just lose a piece? So what happens if I take? What happens if I take? I don't know, but I'm going to test his sacrifice. I mean, he had enough time on the clock. Why would he play bishop g5? Okay. Well, now I can just play knight e3. Yeah, just knight e3 should be winning. Family fork, knight e3. Yeah, I'm going to play it. There's no tricks, I think. Yeah, this is game over. I mean, he's a piece down. He's about to lose even more material, and I actually have 3 pieces for a rook. And I'm about to win an exchange. And then exchange the queens with queen d4 check. Yeah, I mean, he should resign. Come on, man. That's not fair. Let's not play this out. I just don't like it when people don't resign. This is really unfair. Why would you steal my time like this? Let's watch out for stalemate tricks. Okay. The easiest way to checkmate. Okay, now he resigns. Okay. Okay, let's analyze the game. I think that's... 9 points. Yes! 49 points to go. Okay. Let me just read the analysis in your chat. Too slow. Can I challenge to a game? Wait. He can't see this chat. I know I'm asking in general. Blah, 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 blah. Wait, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. The position is closed. Blah, 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 blah. I hate openings. When I see a knight, I always hear them shout, "We want to fork. We have the right to fork." Bishop 1964. One more game. Okay. Okay, let's analyze the position. Okay, sorry about all the fuss. Okay, so this is a position I know pretty well, and this is something I've played a ton of times. This idea with knight b6, knight d5. Now let's look at my decisions here. The main decision which I made is knight b6 here, which was a move, but rook c7 is better. And what? Queen c7 is such a blunder? Why? Because of knight e4? Because what? h5 best move. Ooh, okay, I'm happy to see that. And now knight takes e6. Let's see it. Does it work or not? Wait, the engine is confused. Okay. So here it doesn't mention it, and when it takes, yeah, -2 for me. Queen takes. I shouldn't have played knight h6. Wow, I should have played queen d7 immediately. Why didn't I think? I'm such a petzer sometimes. Queen g6. And I was counting on this. So it does work if I don't mess it up. So where's the move? Okay, so here I can't play knight h6. Yeah. And I'm all fine. I mean, I need to stop f5. Okay, but in this position when he took, yeah, I have to be slightly better here. Yeah, -2 for me. My king maneuver was apparently not that good, but I'm still better. Queen d7 is best. Knight f5. Yeah, my knights are too dominant. Okay, let's look at knight takes d4. It was a mistake because of e6. What? e6 is the only good move. So e6, knight takes, and now f5. Okay, I mean, I take. Well, it does look scary, but I wouldn't say white is better. Okay, but anyway, knight e6. f5, gf5, rook f5, king e8, and now yeah, bishop g5 is just a blunder. Okay, so it was a good game. I wouldn't say it was good whole way through. I misplayed with knight h6, but I calculated correctly that knight takes e6 doesn't work. Okay, let me see how many points I have to go. So today I won 15, 49 more points to go. Oh, it's going to be hard. Okay, I'm going to play a bit more later today, I think, because otherwise I have no chance of reaching my goal. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned for more chess. Sorry for all of you who are challenging me. I'm trying to play high-rated players to get my rating points up. I have a goal of reaching 2100 by October 1st. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.